Hey class, today is Monday or Tuesday, August 25th or 26th, 2014. You're checking in here at the direct instruction portion of our activities. The first learning goal will be accomplished in the group station. I will use observatory skills to compare and contrast the similarities and differences between plant and animal cells in a well-organized paragraph. That should be accomplished after you look through the microscope slides in the group station. Number 2, I will be able to explain the similarities and differences between prokaryotes and eukaryotes. By the end of this PowerPoint video, I want you to be able to explain this difference inside the summary section of your notes. You have that area with sentence starters and guiding questions. Standard is 1-1, conduct an investigation to provide evidence that living things are made of cells, either one cell or many different numbers and types of cells. Our first learning goal with the group station definitely hits our standard as you guys investigate looking at these cell slides of a cheek cell versus onion cells. And you see that both animals and plants are in fact made out of cells. Let's jump into our notes. What's similar between prokaryotes and eukaryotes? This right here is in red. Red means it goes on the left-hand side of your notes. We see that both prokaryotes and eukaryotes are surrounded by membranes. Both prokaryotes and eukaryotes have DNA, and both prokaryotes and eukaryotes' DNA make proteins that carry out the functions of the cell. Here is a side-by-side comparison of a prokaryotic cell right here. In yellow, this is bacteria, and then on the right, a eukaryotic cell. This is an example of an animal cell. We see our first similarity, the plasma membrane or cell membrane. That is the thin layer of, they're called fatty acids, that surround the cell, that protect the cell. We're going to learn a lot more about the plasma membrane as we continue, but it's the surrounding part of the cell. It separates the cell from the environment. It's kind of like the walls of a house. It keeps good things in and keeps the bad stuff out. Without the cell membrane, all the stuff inside the cell would be able to get away. We have cytoplasm. That's just the jelly inside the cell. We have DNA. This is a huge similarity. DNA is what makes you you. It is your blueprint, your code. What your DNA says is what you become. DNA is one of the most important molecules that we'll be talking about. It is responsible for life on Earth. DNA is what makes you you. Your similarities and differences between everybody else is determined by your DNA. Now we have a nucleus. This is only in the eukaryotic cell. The DNA in the prokaryotic cell is just floating around in the cell. In the eukaryotic cell, it's inside this membrane, this separate membrane-bound section called the nucleus. This nucleus holds the DNA for animal and plant cells. This is a key difference. We'll talk about that more in the next slide. Now, both prokaryotes and eukaryotes have ribosomes. And ribosomes take the DNA and turn them into proteins. We're going to learn more about proteins and ribosomes in the next lessons, but the general idea, we have DNA. This DNA is what makes you you. Prokaryotes have their DNA just floating in the cell. Eukaryotes have their DNA inside the nucleus. This DNA is taken to the ribosomes, and the ribosomes take that information and turn it into a protein. Both prokaryotes and eukaryotes have ribosomes. What's the difference between eukaryotic and prokaryotic cells? We see here eukaryotic cells are multicellular organisms that have membrane-bound organelles. Nucleus, endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi apparatus, vacuoles, vesicles, mitochondria, and chloroplasts. Now, make sure you have this green box. It is a vocab word. Make sure you do the same for prokaryotic cells. We see here this special note, DNA is stored in the membrane-bound nucleus. This is a key difference. That's why it's highlighted. Prokaryotic cells are single-celled bacteria with no membrane-bound organelles or nucleus. The DNA is just floating in the cell. So we see that eukaryotic cells have membrane-bound organelles while prokaryotes don't. Here's another side-by-side comparison. Notice all these different structures in this eukaryotic animal cell. All these structures are called organelles. Eukaryotes have them. The prokaryotes don't have them. They have ribosomes, cell membrane, and a nucleoid. It's not a nucleus, it's just where all the DNA is jumbled together like spaghetti. It looks a lot better in this picture. All these different compartments, these different organelles, these different little subsections of the cell are in the eukaryotic cell. we notice that the bacteria or prokaryotic cell does not have all these differences. That's pretty much it. Here's a pretty sweet video on cells and the differences and similarities between prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells.